Welcome and welcome to the present. Yes, we are talking about the ball derby, the Manchester United derby between Manchester United versus Man City. It should be an interesting one. Yeah, this is a predominantly Arsenal channel, but come on, we love football. We are going to discussing football, and I'm here with my resident analyst, my very good friend, whom I respect his opinion, Mr. Efos. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, bro. I'm doing well. You?
Oh, I'm great. Your smiles are big. Are you smiling because of ball derby, or are you smiling because it's going to be a beat down on Sunday? Which one?
Well, bro, you can say a little bit of, a little bit of everything, and we can see Man City is not our problem for now. So it's another person's
Exactly.
problem.
See. Fortunately, we've already climbed the Mount City's mountain already. We've beaten them already. So
Yeah,
let's see. Let's see whether the bald-headed and can know show a bit of wisdom. Because where we come from, we are both Africans. If you have a bald head, you are presumed to be wise.
wow.
Presumed to be
Yeah.
wise. So let's see who's going to be putting on the wig on Sunday between Ten Hag and Pep Guardiola. Who do you think will come out on top?
Very realistically, with discussion, even I was on the phone with my guy. You heard what he said.
Yeah, I had a bit of a conversation. Yeah,
He doesn't see it, you know, realistically, Manchester City will come out on top. Ask any football fan, as you said, the only way people will say Manchester United will win is based off of optimism. But
sure.
let's say logic and realistically or reality, what we can see right now,
Yeah.
moves to tell you that Man City would win.
Okay, if you are going, let's look at the form of both teams because it's very important. Let me put it on the screen right now. So if you look at the form, right, you see it right there. Both have 3 wins in the last 5 matches. Both have 2 losses. So this is why I say statistics sometimes can be misleading if you
Very,
don't
very.
look at it objectively. If you're just going by the pure statistic without analyzing it, this is misleading, right? It looks like both teams have similar performances in them, right? Based on the
Yeah,
statistic. Because the last
yeah,
5 games, you could see Man United have 2 losses, 3 wins. If you look at Man
yeah.
City, they have 2 losses, 3 wins. So it will tell you based on pure statistic that they're on the same level. But when you watch the game, you
Yeah, you
know
look at the
there's a
table.
massive disparity between both teams. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. Form, you see, form can be deceiving, especially, and that's why when people just come say, "Oh, stats, you see it." No, you have to look at the quality of teams they've played.
Sure.
You understand? Um, Now we can still look at it and still say players that were missing. Now, if you still watch the games, how close were those games, even if they lost? Different things. So when we look at Manchester City, one of the losses played um, possibly one of the best teams in Europe,
Sure.
in Arsenal, and it was a close game
Oh yeah,
regardless.
it was a close game. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't a tough one. We've played Manchester United. Mm, close. I won't call it close because that day they just came to come and frustrate us.
I packed the
But
boss.
yeah, so it's one of those things. It's just one. So if you look at Manchester City, obviously Manchester City play better. They score more goals. They defend better. All round, they have better play. They're one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world right now. So obviously, they are the team to beat. So Manchester United versus Manchester, City. You have to look how Manchester United have played. They played who they played Sheffield last time,
Yeah.
and we all know, regardless if it's a small team away at 8:30 when the weather is up and down, those
Yeah.
teams tend to want to come at you. So, and who did they also play? I've forgotten who they played that they lost to. I know
They
one of
played
those.
bright against Brighton. They played
They
a
played
few
against
decent
Brighton. They
teams.
lost to Crystal Palace
Dallas. Yeah.
1-0. So all these games were tough games for them. But if you look at where they are on the table now, the table tells you they are 6 points behind, but they've not been great.
So let's bring out the table real quick. So let's analyze the table. Let me take this off the screen, right? So if you look at we look at after 9 games before we go into I'm not trying. Let me pivot a little bit. So let me say congratulations to Tottenham Hotspur for winning the
Yeah.
2023-2024 English Premiership after 9 games. So we are congratulating them because I've seen some of your fans celebrating. So congratulations to Tottenham Hotspur for winning the Premiership 2023-2024 after 9 games. So
Yeah.
back to regular topic. I'm being serious.
It's like, if it's like that, we would have won the EPL 3 or 4 times last season
Exactly.
before losing. So, but yeah, you see the stats. You see that Manchester United are 8th. Yeah, they can tell you yes, still 6 points behind. Which yes, 6 points is not that much if you go
Definitely.
on a run of form. So, but you have to look at the goal difference, and it says a lot. A lot.
Yeah, -2.
Yes. So you have to look at the win and draw.
They have no
You know,
draw. If you look at it, they have
so
no
they
draw.
have
They
no,
won 5 and
yeah,
lost 4, which is
yeah,
basically 55% to 45%. So either they are winning or they are losing. There's no
they
in
are
between
losing.
right now.
Yeah. So you have to look at it and say, they've not been great both defensively and offensively,
Definitely.
especially offensively. So coming up against Man City, now we know Manchester City after losing to Arsenal, they played Brighton. Now Manchester United, Man City on that day, there were times when they could have scored more than two,
Sure.
and there were times when Brighton could have
Mm,
scored when it was just 2-0 in the second half to level things up. So one thing we have to know is when we talk about teams who play good football, Brighton plays better football than
definitely.
Manchester United at this current period of time. I know for me over the past year they have been. So coming into this game, Manchester United have not been great playing the ball. We saw even against Copenhagen where maybe we were expecting or maybe they will do better. They struggled. You
Performance
understand?
wise.
Yeah, performance wise. And even people, I was listening to Talk Sports, one person that was a Manchester United fan, or someone said the first half was even, he went as far as to say it was diabolical. So that is how bad. So playing against Manchester City that same way will only, you know, you're only calling for a hiding. That's my opinion.
But don't you think if you watch their performances in the English Premiership for the past 9 games, I've never seen a comprehensive performance throughout. Now they have a 15 minutes performance, they have 20 minutes performance. They don't be
Yeah,
consistent actually performing rather well in the whole 90 minutes. At least give us 70 minutes of good performance. They've been struggling. Now they've been getting
yeah,
by what I'll call 90% of 95% of their goals objectively are from players having moments of individual brilliance. Not I'm not saying any team goal, any routine goal. If you look at the smaller teams, right, they have at least a routine they score through a free kick, right, a
yeah,
set pieces or a corner. But Manchester United, all like I said, 95% of their goals are coming from players using their
yeah,
individual brilliance to score. That is not
yeah.
sustainable for the caliber of a team that is called Manchester United.
Yeah, bro, it's not because you have to, like, as you said, because that's what encourages. Yes, those, excuse me, players will be there that have X factor moments. They are the X factor players.
Yeah,
E.g., we saw Gabriel Jesus this weekend and this week against Sevilla.
yeah,
X factor, especially for the assist for the first goal.
go.
So you saw that he has that in his locker, but he doesn't need to do that every
The
time.
time.
Yes, for the team to score. Now, as you said, Manchester United, it's a very good observation. They've not been able to sustain to say, okay, we've been on top of you for 70 minutes.
Minutes.
As you said, look at Tottenham. They were on top Tottenham for 45 minutes. If I would even call 40, because it's like
Yeah,
they had used a lot of the energy for the first 40, and
minutes
after
and
that time, they were gone. Their legs were gone. So it has been a reoccurrence. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they are still feeling fatigue because, in as much as we can say anything, people still have to remember Manchester United played too many games last season, especially for a small squad.
board.
So yeah, they had to play the Carling Cup or the Carabao Cup as it is
Top.
called now. They played the Europa League, of which we see that even teams complain when they're in the Europa League, because a lot of the teams we are seeing now that are on top and doing well in the EPL, once the latter stages of the Europa League come, these players may not be able to keep up because they would have to sacrifice the Europa League or they would sacrifice the league. And in some cases, when they see that okay, they are actually better in the European competitions, or they have a higher, they would concentrate more on that and lose points during the weekend because we play from Thursday to Sunday. So coming to do all these things, and they played and they got to the quarterfinals of that competition, got to the final of the FA Cup, still came third in the league last year. So too many games, in my opinion. And they didn't bring in, would I say, substantial amount of quality players to come and augment now. So they are having that issue. Some of the players that are standing out, as you can see, maybe players that came in that didn't do the work of last season. You can see Højlund, he's really trying his best, doing something. So, in my opinion, that's one thing they are suffering. So, whatever they want to play, I think, in my opinion, Ten Hag has to be industrious. So, he has to find a new way of them playing where they don't kind of, expend energy. The problem is they would want to come out. They don't want to be defensive and do all those ones because, yes, you're the A side. But I think the most important thing for them now is results so they can get themselves back. And as you said, if they can't sustain it against Man City, they have a problem.
So I'm looking at the game from a perspective, like, even though I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm a football person, I like to be very objective and logical because you can't be waxing on emotionality because that's very subjective and it changes from time to time. I'm looking at defensively. Who is the better team? Let me ask you this question. Who is the better team defensively between both teams?
Obviously, it's Manchester City.
So let's go to the midfield. Who has a better midfield between both teams?
Manchester City, realistically.
So let's go to attack. Who has a better attack among both teams? It's a question we need to ask ourselves.
It's with Manchester City.
So, like I said behind the scenes, football is a funny game. It can be a sloppy goal, a funny corner, a free kick. But logically, I don't see any chance.
Goal.
Exactly. I don't see any chance for Manchester United. I'm sorry, especially when Maguire, who was, for me, exhausted his superpower against Copenhagen by scoring that goal. I don't see Maguire performing in 2 straight games. I'm sorry.
Bro, it's said to be 3 now if he does it.
Harry Maguire. So I'm looking at it logically. Like, how does your defense, right? You see, I do not rate aesthetically. Keyword aesthetically. Erling Haaland. But goal scoring prowess, give it to him. You might not be your Ronaldo de Lima, Gabriel Jesus, who does the tricks and flicks that makes you want to play and watch football. But scoring goals, he will score goals.
Of course.
So you think Harry Maguire and potentially a crooked Varane, will Manchester United are still bestowing upon him his performance at Real Madrid? For me, for Manchester United, he has been a so-so player. But we know he's always 2 games in, 2 games injured. Do you think he can hold up against the attack of Man City?
Bro. Now that I see, I'm just beginning to have some flashbacks of last weekend when I was watching Manchester City versus Brighton. I was looking at this guy, Doku.
Yeah.
My Lord in heaven. I'm sure Doku would have actually retired. That is one of the first games I saw somebody being retired. James Milner.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have been gone last week because Doku, oh my Lord in heaven, he skinned him. And I'm thinking about Doku. I'm thinking about Erling Haaland. Then on the other side, we could either have Foden or Bernardo Silva.
Yeah.
So I don't see.
You can see you struggling to put a logic to actually put up a fight for Manchester United. We're not trying to be cynical here. I'm trying to see how, aside from a miracle or a very, very bad day, because it can happen to any team. We saw how Arsenal played very badly against Chelsea last week. So aside from those 2 things, I don't see any other logical chance for Man United, even at Old Trafford. I don't care. It's still a pitch. I don't. As I'm an act of God, I don't see any chance for Manchester United. Objectively, objectively.
I don't. That is what I'm struggling to see because Manchester City have so much talent.
Yeah,
You could either call upon Doku or Grealish. You could call upon and we are talking about Haaland. Alvarez still plays there
exactly.
too.
But
Alvarez plays behind
something
Haaland.
just popped up in my mind.
So
Something popped up in my mind. Maybe the referees could come to Manchester United's aid.
hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Hello,
can
can
hear
you hear
you.
me? I said maybe the referees
Yeah, I
can
can
do
hear
Manchester United a favor.
you.
Apart from that,
Yeah.
yeah.
As I was saying, Alvarez is still there.
Hmm.
And he looks like the man on form. Honestly,
Sure.
he looks like the man on form. That midfield maestro that people were waxing lyrically about was not around. Okay, he's playing against them. You
Exactly.
understand? Rodri.
It's
And we
back.
still have, we still, in that midfield, he shares a midfield. He can share it with either Stones. He can share the midfield with Bernardo Silva.
Or
He can
Kovacic.
share exactly with Kovacic. They still have Mateus Nunes there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Okay. Say
And
we don't know. You don't know how to put up a fight for Manchester United against Man City. You are trying to logically find a way to to say, okay, this is what Manchester United can do against Man City, and we don't know. So let's go to predictions for the match. How many goals do you think will be buried in the net for either side?
3-1.
3-1. So you think there's a
Yeah.
chance for Manchester United to score?
Of course, there'll be a chance for them to score.
Okay. Who do you think will score for Manchester United? Højlund, Rashford, who
I
again?
think it's going to
Mash-
be either Højlund or Rashford because they have the pace and Højlund has the physicality at least to worry them up there. So
okay.
that's one. That's
We
a
know we
possibility.
know Akonji will be missing because he had a red card at the twilight of that match against Brighton. So Akonji
Yeah.
will not be available for this match. So I'm expecting either Stones, Diaz, and Cavario to actually feature in
Maybe,
this match. Maybe the Lewis, the youngster, might actually be featured in the midfield. It should be an interesting match. So guys, let us know in the comment section how many goals you think will end it, who will win it. Let us know. Drop it in comment section. Very, very important. Mr. Efsa has gone for 3-1. If that's my prediction, I'm going for a comprehensive 4-0. I think they might get a hiding at Old Trafford. I think
Yeah,
they
it's very
might get a
possible.
hiding.
If we look at Onana, as of recent, Onana started looking at the 45 million euros they actually spent on. I don't know whether I was doing a holiday at Old Trafford. Maybe he was very excited to be there. So for the past two games, I think against Sheffield, he made
Yeah.
some instrumental saves.
Mhm.
So for the past two games, looks like his brains are finally returned. So
Okay. If I'm without being cynical and being facetious, if I told you a broken clock can be right twice,
yeah, bro. I'm not saying it's not broken. Now, me saying that doesn't mean that he's totally horrible. You understand? That's what when people
this
say
is
it
where
as
I'll push back to you. I don't
yeah.
think Onana is as good as the Manchester United fans and British fans are making
No,
him because they
of
spent
course,
money. I don't think he's that
of
good. I
course.
just think he's better with his feet than his hand, and that's crazy for a goalkeeper to be better in his feet than his hands. When your
Yeah,
primary job is to go keep.
me, bro. I think the same thing. The problem with Manchester United fans is, as you said, he's better with his feet than his hands. They always, what do they call it? Compare him to, oh, he's better than De Gea. How?
How? Come on.
Like how? I
You
know you
understand?
people didn't rate De Gea. Maybe
Yeah,
he
the guy
made some
might be
errors.
horrible with his feet, but he's better with his
Yes.
hands. So
His primary job, he does it. He was
yeah,
doing everything. So, like for me, one thing Manchester United, I think they are suffering. They are suffering De Gea's absence. And people will say, what do I mean? The amount of shots Manchester United are facing now. it was similar to what they were facing last time. But
Sure.
the hair always made spectacular saves. When you
No,
make spectacular,
although the hair will drop some clangers sometimes. Like we can't erase that
no,
part.
everybody, that is the truth. Everybody has, even Allison that we are saying, oh,
Yeah,
if you see sometimes when Allison makes some mistakes, you will just be laughing because
but
it's comical.
it's not as repeated as the hair. That's the disparity
No,
there.
no, of course.
Yeah,
Of course, that was there. That one was there. Let's say,
yeah,
but even with those mistakes that people were talking about, he
yeah.
was never good with his feet. So unfortunately, there were everybody was portraying his feet, his feet, his feet.
His feet.
But with his hands, you can count how many. Okay, last year, how many mistakes? People will talk about the West Ham game. People will still talk about maybe like, you only talk about 3 or 4 maximum in a season with his hand. You understand? You won't talk about any other thing. The pros outweigh the cons. I
Yeah,
can live.
he won the Golden Glove. Whether we want to
Yeah.
one time, he won the Golden Glove last season.
So I can still look at it and think, okay, fine. There were moments, look at where the Manchester United would have conceded 2 or 3 goals early, but the Gea would make saves. And when you make saves, everybody becomes encouraged. Yes.
sure.
Then what happens? As far as you is nil-nil, you know you're the bigger team. You go in for the kill. So with this one, the Onana not being able to make the saves properly will now, it demoralizes everybody from the beginning. And to anybody watching, sorry to cut you short,
No, no problem.
it's not that we are saying Man U don't have a chance.
They do have a
We are
chance.
just
A
saying
5% chance. By
yes,
my own estimate, they have a 5% chance out of 100.
yeah,
See, the difference between possibility and probability.
yeah,
There's a possibility anybody can win a lottery, but is it
yes,
probable? No, for most people. So
yes,
people, I presume on this, my subscribers and internet subscribers are some of the brightest minds that can challenge us if we are not if we are waffling and can be able to see the nuances and concepts of how we speak. Because anybody with a sense, you know that we are not saying, man, you don't have a chance. Who will say that? Come on, this is football.
yeah.
Everybody has a chance. But
Anybody can beat anybody.
if you go by the logic, come on. We're just saying by the logic.
Yeah, of course.
So shout out to you for coming for this preview for
No
the
problem,
bald
bro.
head derby, the Manchester derby between Manchester United and Man City at the Old Trafford, aka Old Trashford. So it should be an interesting game. So guys, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and make sure you turn on your notification bell. Very, very important. Shout out to Mr. Efosa for coming through at short notice. I really appreciate your effort and your intelligence
No problem,
and your
bro.
input into making this content. Guys, keep on supporting us now. Keep on supporting good football. Be logical,
Yeah.
be analytical. Don't be emotional too much. Even though there's an emotional game during the game, after the game, apply some logic and context so we can have a healthy and sensible debate. So we'll be leaving you guys for now. Make sure you join us in the next few hours if you are just watching this content now, or if you are watching pre-recorded, maybe you might not be able to join us. But if you are watching it right now, join us in the next few hours for a live stream regarding Arsenal. Keep supporting Arsenal if you're an Arsenal fan. If you're a fan of any other team, it is what it is.
Yeah, support. And you don't need to be overly hard on your team. Like,
Exactly.
it's
Just
not the
be more
easiest.
logical.
Yeah.
So like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.